The devil you do know is much less frightening than the devil you do not. This phrase means that no matter how bad a situation may be, the imagination always makes it much, much worse. We can attribute this to what is happening in Egypt currently, where the Egyptian people have had their first taste of democracy in over 3 decades. Recently, over the past couple of weeks, the Egyptian people have enacted in their first democratic elections, and they have spoken. But have they spoken for democracy, or have they actually spoken against it? This leads us to the question that I've been asked to answer for you today, which is, should the world be concerned about the results of Egypt's parliamentary elections? The answer to this question is just like my phrase, the devil you do not know is much worse, and the devil that the Egyptian people have elected is much worse than the current regime, prompting my answer of yes. The world should be concerned about the results of Egypt's parliamentary elections, and there are 3 main reasons why. First, we will examine just who the Egyptian people have elected to their parliament, and why this is negative for fans of democracy. Second, we will examine the people that the Egyptians are poised to elect into their executive branch of government, and how this will create widespread chaos throughout the region. And third and finally, we will see that if the political positions in Egypt have fallen to members of the Muslim Brotherhood, that Egypt will just be another important domino to fall to the impending conflict that could happen throughout the entire world. The first reason why the international community should be concerned about the results of Egypt's parliamentary elections are because of the people that the Egyptians have elected. According to an article from The Economist dating December 1st, 2011, this article states that polls before the elections had occurred speculated that over 75% of all parliamentary seats would go to members of the Muslim Brotherhood, an extremist Islamic terror organization. But as an article states, over 85% of all of the parliamentary seats actually went to those who have either been current members of or affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood. As we can see, if a radical Islamist terror organization is controlling the Egyptian parliament, this will not be good for those who wish to see democracy in their nation. And nations who have had the Muslim Brotherhood control their parliaments or other places in their government have seen extreme persecution and widespread chaos. We need only look at the nation of South Sudan, which in the month of October of this year became the world's newest country. In their elections, they elected many who were affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood, as according to an article from the New York Times dating November 22nd, 2011. This article goes on to state, however, that already within this nation there has been widespread chaos and panic. The federal government, headed by many members of the Muslim Brotherhood, has murdered over 5,000 Sudanese people, including torturing thousands more and persecuting all those who do not support the Muslim Brotherhood's radical ideals. So just picture this on a larger and more influential scale in the nation of Egypt, and we can already see that the international community should be extremely worried, not only for the safety of the Egyptian people, but for the rest of the world in general. But let us play devil's advocate for a second. Even if the parliament is controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood, if the executive branch of government is not controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood, they could do what President Mubarak did back in December of 2010 and call the nation into a state of emergency, ceasing all powers to the rest of the government except for the president himself. This, however, is not the occasion, as we can see in my second reason why the world should be concerned about the results of Egypt's parliamentary elections, and that is because the people that Egypt is poised to elect to their executive branch of government are also members of the Muslim Brotherhood. According to a Reuters poll taken on November 30th, 2011, the poll surveyed over 1,000 Egyptian citizens who were planning to vote in the elections that day. The poll asked if they were going to vote for a ticket with members who either were part of the Muslim Brotherhood or a ticket on which the people who were going to be elected were not supporters of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Egyptian people in this poll stated that over 76% of them were actually going to vote for the ticket that had Muslim Brotherhood members on it. So if the presidency of Egypt also falls to the Muslim Brotherhood, we can see through my first key areas of analysis that this will be a very negative thing for both the nation of Egypt and for the rest of the world in general. With ties between Egypt and the nation of Israel already at a boiling point, Egypt is already moving closer to having friendly relations with the nations of both Iran and Pakistan, two countries that vehemently oppose support of Israel mostly by the United States of America. So both the federal government in both of their houses, the executive and parliament, are controlled by a group who does not support America and could be poised to attack Israel. We could see trouble throughout the world brewing. And this trouble leads me to my third and final reason why the world should be concerned about the results of Egypt's parliamentary elections, and that is because if Egypt's government falls, they could just be another domino to fall to an impending world conflict. According to an article from the Washington Post dated December 3rd, 2011, this article states that the United States... Yeah, I know you're laughing how I talk. Thanks, Sonner. This article states that the nations of Israel and the United States are extremely close allies. So close, in fact, that this has greatly severed relations between the United States and the rest of the Middle East, as they extremely oppose any support to the nation of Israel. If Egypt falls to the Muslim Brotherhood, they will join the ranks of Iran and Pakistan, and nations who could possibly attack Israel in the near future. And as according to the Washington Post article, the United States and Israel has a treaty that says that the United States will support Israel in any military campaign if they were attacked, not if they were the aggressor. So if Egypt teams up with other nations throughout the Middle East due to their highly corrupt Islamic extremist government, we could see a world conflict even within the next year. The United States would have to back up Israel, or they would back out of what they stated in their treaty, showing that they would be going against the nation of both Egypt, Iran, and Pakistan, three nations who have nuclear power. And if nuclear weapons on both sides of the conflict occur, what could happen could be extremely catastrophic. So as we can see, the devil that one does not know is always worse than the devil that they do know, as the devil that the Egyptian people are coming to know through their elections is much worse than the regime that they are surpassing. Through electing members of the Muslim Brotherhood to parliament, and even possibly electing a member of the Muslim Brotherhood to the presidency, we can see that by doing so, they are just being